Live from our studios, here's Property TV.
Welcome, I'm Ian Thomason from Thomason Property and I'm bringing you the February edition of Property TV. With me today I have Flannan Morley. Flannan's a town planner with Jensen Bowers and I've invited him in this morning to discuss town planning in light of the recent floods in southeast Queensland. We also have a Property of the Month, which is an interesting property at Youngalla, west of Mackay. But before then, I'd like to take you to Kevin Turner for this month's property comments.
Thank you. Well, after the devastating effects of the floods that we saw in Queensland at the early part of this year, everyone's asking the question, what will it do to property prices? And one thing I think we will see is that rents will increase, and that could be sooner rather than later, and in some areas by as much as 10%. But what's going to happen to property prices? Well, real estate is all about supply and demand, and right now the demand is not there. Supply is great, but demand is low. That will actually drive prices down. I think if you're prepared to be patient, to market your property well, and list it or have an expectation that's quite realistic, you're going to see the market return quite well later this year. We learnt a lot after the 1974 floods, and that instilled confidence back into the market quickly. I think with an inquiry already underway, that same confidence is going to return to the market quite quickly. Until next time, thank you.
Thanks for that, Kevin. Now I'd like to take you, as I said before, to Flannan Morley. Flannan's from Jensen Bowers, and we'd like to talk, I'm talking to Flannan this morning about the issues surrounding the recent flooding and the town planning implications that may come from that. So Flannan, we've just been through quite a traumatic experience in the southeast corner. It's very emotive and there's politicians making statements about many things, but probably the first thing that comes to mind is the Q100 and exactly what that means. And I was just wondering whether you could talk to us about that and explain it to us in layman's terms.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Q100 is a defined flood event, so it's based on rainfall modelling of the catchment and analysis of the catchment to come up with a level expressed as an AHD level throughout the city, and it's the likelihood of that flood event occurring on average once in every 100 years. But look, it doesn't mean that a flood event will occur once only in 100 years. Flooding in Australia is a very random event, say compared to somewhere like the Nile River in Egypt, which floods on a regular, nearly clockwork basis. Flooding in Brisbane at a Q100 level theoretically could occur in any given year with a 1% chance of probability of occurring.
Flannan, you mentioned the letters AHD. What does that mean? I don't
yeah,
understand
look,
that.
it's Australian height datum, and look, it's an interesting and good point. There's been a lot of difficulty for the wider community to understand flooding information. AHD, you can do a search on the Brisbane City Council's website for any property, and it will tell you in AHD what the Q100 flood event for that property is.
Flannan, there's also been speculation from a number of politicians that people mightn't be able to build in their existing locations, and also that they mightn't be able to build the home that they had there previously. Can you comment on that and sort of bring us up to date on where you think that is, and is this just political talk or is it something that could be very real?
As the town plan and legislation stands, anyone whose property is partially or totally damaged or destroyed by flood can rebuild to the original dwelling without the need for any planning approvals whatsoever. They will need building approvals, but rebuilding to the precise pre-flood condition is exempt development.
Okay, Flannan, well that's all interesting. So with that information at hand, is that going to influence town planning? Is it going to change things? Is it going to have an impact on town planning in Brisbane from this day on?
Yeah, look, sure. I think there's a fair chance that some rules and regulations will be changed. We mentioned before 8.5 metre limits. I think it's a fair bet that there will be some that will be revisited. There might also be changes not only for dwellings but also for commercial properties. For example, we're all aware of city towers and basements being flooded, and electrical systems and generators being flooded, and that has a massive economic impact on the city. Now, you know, they may well be a revisit of rules requiring electrical systems, generators, car parking to be above flood levels, for example.
Thanks for that, Flannan. I'm sure that all our viewers are going to get got a lot of information from that. And obviously if anyone's got any questions, they can contact you at the number on the screen. But now I'd like to take you to our property of the month, which is an interesting eco-resort that we have for sale in Youngalla, which is just west of Mackay. I'm sure you're going to find this a really interesting property.
White sandy beaches that infuse with crystal clear water, tropical landscapes that hug the coast, whilst the natural surrounds of coastal islands are a taste of the barrier reef only a short distance away. The trendy cafes, fashion and development are all transforming the region of Mackay. All this is less than an hour away from Youngalla, the Aboriginal meaning, land of the clouds. Then from on top of the clouds is an eco-resort that is nestled amongst a unique national park and home to the world's best platypus viewing deck. Then as you stroll through this amazing resort, the outside world is left behind. Catering to day trippers, holiday stays or business functions, Broken River Mountain Resort has a multitude of features, from a function centre with projection displays, water views and kitchen facilities, as well as fully licensed bar and restaurant area with guest lounge. Relax by the pool, taking in all the sounds of nature. Take a short drive to all the recreational activities this amazing area has to offer. Make an offer today and don't miss out on living with Mother Nature.
So that's the property of the month, and I'm sure you'll agree with me it's a very interesting property. If you're interested in that, or you know someone who might be interested in purchasing it, don't hesitate to contact us on the number that's on the screen. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button, which will then keep you abreast of all the information that we provide on a regular basis. So until then, until March, have a great month.